We are back and ready to go with match number 1. It's going to be Surrender versus DawN. And again, you can see what they've picked and banned here with a sort of opposite mirrored effect of, Surrender shielding the Shaman and having his priest banned out, whereas DawN shielding the priest, having the Shaman banned out. So we'll see how that one shakes out. But just a reminder, the winner of this will go on to face Tom, and the loser will go on to face Shaxi. So neither play will be knocked out if they lose, or when they lose, I guess, because one of them has to. But it does mean that they're in a bit more of a precarious position than they would be if they won.
That's right. And speaking of the bans that we have here, and I suppose the decks in general, it's a bit of an interesting bring here from Surrender, of course. The two ubiquitous classes in Priest and Shaman obviously being brought, but he's gone with the Quest Shaman, which is a deck that not many players have gone for. I think for the most part because they definitely expected a lot of Priest, and the token version does a lot better against Priest than the Quest version does. But it does mean here that Surrender shielding his own Shaman here, I think for the most part because DawN has a Warrior on his side of the board, which is not represented very highly, and Quest Shaman, as we know, if anything, I think it's got better against the Warriors that we're seeing here because it has extra mid-game meat that it can throw down to just constantly make sure it's threatening.
Yeah, I think it's better versus Warrior because it can present more consistent threats. My only slight worry is DawN is just playing basically old school Warrior now.
Yeah.
Whereas personally, I've been playing a good chunk of Warrior for first time in my life in the past few days. But I've been playing the N'Zoth with Death Rattle cards and like the Kartok Defenders. And I think just that package in itself is so powerful, especially in Warrior when you can still run a decent chunk of removal. You still run all the Rush minions. You still run the mechs, still run Boom. I think that's a little bit more powerful. So we'll see how that shakes out overall. But honestly, I love Surrender's lineup because I think I was saying to you the other day that I think Hunter is actually good right now, although it's got a couple of bad matchups. I also like that combined with Malygos Druid means that I think Surrender's in a really, really solid spot just in his lineup overall.
I can also respect on the other side, though, DawN's decision to just go with shielding Priest right out the gate, especially if he made the read that Surrender would go with the Shaman, because then even if you just look at the two shielded decks, one against the other, which it's never that simple, but it factors into it, Priest up against Shaman, still a good matchup, I think. Even with the Evolve and the Desert Hairs able to get a little bit more consistent forward pressure, you're still in with a good time as the Priest.
Yeah, well, let's get into it. The first match of the day, and for the second group of the Hearthstone Grandmasters playoffs, we've got Surrender on the top on the Hunter, and we've got DawN on the bottom. Guess what? On the Hunter. Both players as well received or finished on an 8-6 score in the round robin portion of the league of Season 2. So both players pretty evenly matched, at least in terms of score and deck, but we're going to see who comes out on top after the series is over.
Both players with pretty cool hairstyles as well, if you want my personal opinion.
I agree. Let's see, Surrender getting off to a much better start if we're just staring at the hands. A little bit unfortunate for DawN that he picked up the Secret Keeper now and didn't have it last turn. But even just having one drop into Secret, into Coin, Hyena is massive in this matchup.
And that does
Zephyrus respect.
Yeah, exactly. To just go with the curve in a single card, it just always gives you a perfect curve. Unless your opponent's played a 1-1, which means of the 3 drops that it always offers of Animal Companion, Wild Growth, and Brightwing, it leaves out what is probably the best one here in Animal Companion.
Yeah, that one's going to hurt a little bit.
You can play Brightwing if you want. Although it's probably going to be Wild Growth.
Does he just take Backstab? I think so. I think I would have backstabbed it,
He has a turn 3 in Secret Keeper plus Pressure Plate. I think if your opponent's just playing a 1-1 and trading in, you're probably okay with that because then you get initiative to go Secret Keeper Pressure Plate.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, is Backstab going to be that good later on? It could make you, or potentially give you options to play into a Rat Trap or a Pressure Plate, something like that, whereas it is, I think, well, not impossible, but very unlikely that this Zephyrus would die this turn if he Backstabbed. Because it'd just be a rushing 1-1, and there's no Timberwolf in the deck.
Yeah, it would have to be like Coin Bow.
It would be Coin Weapon, yeah. So,
you're okay with.
So then I'm just thinking, like, is it not just worth playing Backstab and then having a 3-2 board? Like, that's pretty good.
I think I would accept that my Zephyrus dies to a 1-1 and save the Backstab for a Huffer or a 2-2 off the Hyena, or just killing off the second half of a Ziliax, something like that. It's just not quite worth it, in my opinion. Oh. Zephyrus works in mysterious ways, my friend. You always get the perfect card eventually.
Trade's going to happen there into the Secret Keeper, as the Zephyrus did end up living, but at the expense of Surrender being able to basically just have complete control over the board now.
It's just a pretty disastrous start, all things considered, for DawN here.
Pressure play sucks.
Pressure play does suck.
Especially because there could be an animal comp next turn. I guess the only thought is if it's animal comp and then it kills it in the 1 out of 5 chance or whatever, then it's good. But that's a lot of ifs and buts. Whereas Freezing Trap has its ups and downsides.
The weird thing is though here for both players that they are both their secrets are like so bad in this scenario that their opponent will be thinking they'd never play that secret here, right? And therefore they start playing around the other ones rather than the secret that it actually is.
I think I'd always go face here. It might lose me the game, but I think I would do it. Because if you trade and it's Snake, you've just lost a massive advantage. If you trade and it's Explosive, well, you can still play a Snip Snap and it's not so bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's.
Do you ever start with Snip Snap to test for Snipe? But then, of course, if it's Explosive, it's even worse.
I mean, is Snip Snap being on just versus a Secret Keeper that bad? So I'm just going to make the trades, find out what it... Not so much what it is, but what it isn't, at least.
Sets up the Hyena Alpha as well.
Now he knows.
And I think this was probably the way I would go from Surrender, because if it did turn out to be Snake Trap, he could have diverted and traded into the 1/1s instead, thus just leaving a 2/2 Secret Keeper, which trades pretty poorly against his Snip Snap or the Freezing Trap. But this is just what Hunter does to you, man. These secrets, it makes you play in weird ways that you really don't want to.
This is the way Surrender definitely does want to play, is just drop in Hyena Alpha on curve.
Big time.
Now there is the Explosive Trap. Madness.
So how face-up does DawN play with this? He could have just traded straight up into the 3/3, but obviously if that's freezing and he does aim it at the 3/3, Surrender will know exactly what trap it would be once he plays it.
Does he preemptively backstab the 3/3? Now?
I think that was the play. I don't really see what... Like, okay, so say you go backstab the 3/3, Explosive Trap, Hero Power, Pass. If your opponent doesn't attack, what happens? It's pretty bad for you, I guess. They just develop, and it's such a rough spot, because here what DawN is clearly trying to do is disguise what trap it is by not making a very obvious Explosive Trap play, but that has the downside of costing him an Animal Companion, basically. Just straight up, if Surrender knows how to play around this correctly. And you have to imagine he will.
Is he thinking of snakes again?
Almost certainly.
Well, he knows it's not explosive, right? Oh no, sorry, it is explosive.
It is explosive.
He tested for explosive earlier, so he knows it's likely or could be explosive. That's what I meant. I should really say what I mean. I should really say what I mean and not like get confused with what I'm thinking about.
Why couldn't you tell what I was trying to say? God.
Yeah.
All the secret synergy coming together though for Surrender. But this is still far from over, I would say. Surrender honestly does not have that much pressure on the board. DawN, if he's able to find a way to stabilize, maybe find his own Ziliax, he could be in a reasonably acceptable position curving into Call of the Wild, then Zul'jin. It's not too far away.
Yeah, it's not. He's just going to rely on Surrender's next draws, right? Because we know what DawN's going to do.
Yes.
Pretty straightforward. Is just get to turns 9 and 10. Surrender's draws aren't good, though.
They're not amazing. It's been a very secret-heavy game.
Is it just double snip?
I think so. And I think the real kind of secret for Surrender on this game to his success has just been how well he's been playing around those secrets, in my opinion. making it awkward for his opponent, setting up the secret on turn 3, floating a mana to go into the Hyena Alpha as opposed to playing Snip Snap, now allows him to play double Snip Snap on a single turn. Very, very strong.
Which then will have the, of course, knock-on effect of it being extremely likely, if not certain, that Ziliax will be playable next turn as a magnetized minion, which can push even more damage. Because with Surrender's hand, he's definitely on the aggressive point, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, we can see DawN's where he has Zul'jin, he has the Call of the Wild. But DawN just needs to get there, whereas these draws are horrible. I think he just has to kill command something here.
Yeah, fair enough, fair
I'm not
enough.
sure if I agree with that trade either.
Really?
Well, I think if you, like, Snake Trap could help him a lot.
Oh,
so should he
okay.
just not trade and let Surrender potentially trade into him? I don't know, it's small.
Yeah.
It's just that this Snake Trap is, not that he could have done anything better, but 2 mana do nothing. Because it's not going to get procced for like 20 years.
I think it was probably so... Again, so face up of a play. Like, if you go face there, it's so clear that what you've played is Snake Trap. That oh, especially as it's a pressure play anyway, so the minion would have just died if he played it
sorry,
before.
yeah. Yes, because DawN played pressure play earlier, right?
Yes, and now
keeping track
Surrender.
of secrets in
It's
the mirror.
not
when,
easy.
when they both like draw them all as well, it's like, who played what again? All I know is there's no rat traps been knocking about.
That's
yet.
right. It's pressure play on Surrender's side because he went pressure play into Masked Contender, which pulled a snipe, I think. And so yes, it's now snakes for DawN, plate for Surrender. Has DawN played a freezing trap though so far this game?
No.
I don't think he has. Yeah, I think
No,
it's
Surrender
just
played
Surrender
freezing,
who
which
plays
bounced
it.
his Snip Snap.
Yeah. Which is of course a big consideration for Surrender here.
Yeah.
Does he just go all in?
He's gonna split them. He's gonna wait. Surrender is showing levels of discipline I definitely do not have. I would have gone, meh.
Jam face
Attack
there.
it.
And it may have been correct. It was not that obvious there at all. But of
Because
course,
now,
mystery secret off the top.
yeah, finally, at last, because I was getting worried, this backstab is going to get some use.
And DawN, he's, to an extent, like we can see he may not be bluffing the freezing trap. He's just making the best play he can. But from Surrender's side of the board, who's already thinking it's probably freezing trap, he's now going to be thinking, okay, this is a freezing trap. I cannot attack it.
He needs to attack. He needs to attack.
What happens if he just goes face here? It comes down as a 5, comes back as a 5 cost, so then he could just go double Snip Snap again anyway? It's not that bad.
The problem here for Surrender and what he's considering, or I hope he is DawN's had 2 cards in his hand all game.
Yeah.
What could they be?
Probably something quite large.
Yeah. And this is my problem, right? And I'm not saying I'm right, but in this kind of, in the mirror, I don't ignore that secrets are there, but if it's attack with a minion to get it bounced or deal damage, and I'm not dead if I do it, I normally just do it.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, you miss out on so much most of the time, and even if it's bounced, I'd rather it get bounced quickly, so I can then do something about it, and then just wait and wait. Then it gets bounced, you're like, oh no, I've just literally wasted 3 turns.
Yeah, I think last turn it was debatable because Surrender had a strong play outside of that. You know, I'd still definitely hear the argument for attacking. This turn, when he has 8 mana to play out 2 Snip Snaps anyway, you don't even think about it, you just jam it 100%.
Okay, that was a pretty good kill, actually.
That was a pretty good outcome.
That might actually have been better than Huffer. Getting killed.
Yeah, just allows him to sack face again. Or go for the value trade, I suppose.
Because now, Surrender, I think he has to play aggressive. His hand is just nothing.
Yeah.
And you
missed out on
can't,
all the
and you
big cards.
really cannot rely on just going, oh well, I'll get there. It's like, well, you might not, so you need to go face. Get there quicker.
What does he do about Zul'jin? Like, I think, honestly, Surrender will have the read that that's Zul'jin at this point. It's been in hand all game, hasn't been played. What else could it possibly be? And in that situation, does he say, okay, I have to value trade because the face plan never ever works, he just has too much of a board presence? Or does he say, I'm never winning board anyway, so I have to go for a Hail Mary and try and just push face.
I think the only thing the trade really accomplishes is missing 4 damage.
Yeah.
Because he kills a Leark, well, you know there's going to be at least minimum Huffer, Misha, Leark back.
And another one.
And so what if you take, 2 extra damage, 3, 4 extra damage? Surrender's on 27. Get hit.
I think it's more just about how the trades work out. Like, if you don't trade here, then you can just be met with exactly Huffer trading in. This is where it goes very wrong, though.
But my problem with that is, if he's trading your Huffer, then you get to just keep spamming hero power.
True.
Right? Like, yes, he gains 5 armor, but Surrender would have done 4 more damage.
Yeah. And
you can just keep pressing hero power. If DawN goes Zul'jin and then starts trading stuff, Surrender's got like minimum, 2-3 turns to actually just win the game.
I think either way that Surrender goes here, he's relying on some pretty tasty top decks to get him back in this game.
Is DawN working out whether he needs to actually Citron here? He can't, right?
Oh, do you think he doesn't go Zul'jin here?
Well, I think if he was convinced he'd Zul'jin here, he would have played it by now, is my answer. There we go, okay.
I think he was just wondering whether you trade before or after, because you got backstabs and kill command in there as well. Surrender knew what was up, but he still hates to see it.
It's a pretty big deal that the first kill command comes down before they call the wild.
Yes, it is, and that it targets the perfect minion as well. This is filthy. Alright, so we're looking at Explosive Trap, Snake Trap, and then Pressure Plate, I think, on the side for DawN there. Okay, he needed some good top decks. That's one of them.
Killed Huffer. That's the way it goes.
It does get a little bit closer now, again, if Surrender can find his own Zul'jin in the next couple of cards. Taking a look at his list, he also has a Rag in there, a Siamat, Dino Tamer, Bran, of course. But not the N'Zoth package that some players have been knocking about with.
Yeah, not from what I've seen of it, at least, not a huge fan of the mech N'Zoth style.
Bit overkill.
Yeah, maybe I just don't like it. I think the secrets are really good. 'Cause it doesn't play secrets, that one, does it?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I guess you just the real thing you're afraid of as Hunter at the moment is early game and falling behind.
Bait arrow, going to be nice for DawN just to keep this pressure up, and Surrender needs to draw something. There's Rag, but that's an expensive Rag.
Yeah, that is the downside of putting Rag in your deck, is all of a sudden you are that much less likely to find Zephrys off of your Sandbinder. There's only a 1 out of 3 there, right, with Siamat and Rag in there as well.
Two off.
Surrender on the other side. If he gets a top deck of... Is there anything that can give him Rag lethal, potentially? I don't think so, right?
Maybe if he'd push 4 more damage to face.
It's a good point. It's a good point. There would have been less snakes as well to clear off the Snipsnap minions.
So the damage gained from the Leark staying alive would have been negated by the snakes not existing?
Yeah. It would be like... It's more offset. Like it's
right.
It's quite a bit worse.
2 off, just going for the Rag Dream. Wait, was that Bran? Not enough. Not with that secret going down, and DawN takes game number 1. And here's the thing, right? Surrender, I think, played very well around the secrets, but for me, if there's ever such a thing, maybe he played like too well around them.
Okay, that's
it was
fair.
like, well, if this is freezing, it's a huge problem. And I agree, it would have been frustrating, it would have been a bit of a problem for him. But the second it's not, it's insane, right? And I guess I lean more on that side and just saying, well, if it's the worst case scenario, fine, deal with it. But if it's anything else, it's absolutely fine. So we'll see how that plays out if he plays Hunter again. But obviously, DawN isn't going to be playing Hunter again because he took a win with it, which means Surrender won't have to worry about secrets. I don't think anyone's got around to playing a secret variant of Paladin yet.
Yeah, not in Grandmasters.
Yeah, not yet.
We've seen here. Who knows in Bucharest next week? We'll have to see. But like you said, left with his Priest and his Warrior now. The Warrior is a very interesting bring here this week. I think it's honestly not that bad. I think if you're going to be going for predicting the meta, which is definitely for the most part combo priest, against which warrior is pretty decent. They didn't get any new tools with the light bomb and what's it called, Vol'jin, the priest legendary that came back again. I always get my trolls confused. But the warrior is just still very good against priest. Pretty good against the shaman as well, I find. The shaman got better with the inclusion of Evolve and the Desert Hares, a little bit more mid-game, early-game sustainability that the warrior can't always fend off, but it's still a pretty decent matchup.
Yeah, the only one that worries me a little bit with bringing warrior is just all the Holy Wrath piled in, because
That is scary.
that was close anyway, and now they can just do everything in one turn, or do everything a bit quicker, and so on, or have further reach because of chances of getting Zephyrus into Fireball as well as Holy Wrath, instead of just doing Holy Wrath into Soulfire or Lightning Bolt. So, you know, we'll have to see how it goes going forward. But obviously, Surrender in this series, going against DawN, does not have Holy Wrath piled in, which means DawN does not have to worry about that. But the Druid, on the other hand, from Surrender, I feel like is a good matchup for the Warrior. So we'll have to see what that's going to be.
Yeah.
About to see now. Shaman versus Priest.
This is the downside for Surrender of bringing this quest shaman, and one of the reasons he would consider not going for the shield in it, and one of the reasons why I think DawN was so correctly going for the shield on his priest, because he may end up with this matchup right here. The new card brought in with Doom in the Tomb in Evolve already in Surrender's hand, which is really, I think, one of the cornerstones of winning this matchup. Going for something like Hair plus Evolve, even Mogu plus Evolve, instead of a Mutate, is often powerful enough to get the job done.
Yeah, and funnily enough, there's outside options you can have as well. Surrender's opening with this Cable Rat and this Novice Engineer means that if those two stick for a turn, then you can evolve two mana 1/1s into 3 drops. Oh, you probably take that most of the time.
Absolutely. Sign me up.
Just don't be Derek and evolve into Doomsayers all the time.
Why? Why does it always happen to me? It's always Doomsayer or it's always Duskfallen Aviana. Every time. I should never evolve to 2 or... How much does that minion even cost? 5? 6? Whatever it is, I hate it.
Doesn't matter the cost.
I like the choice of Cable Rat here instead of the Novice Engineer. I think I just like having the ability to go for Lackey as the first thing next turn and having mana spare.
Yeah, I think it, on average, just gives you a better turn.
Better card.
Yeah. Bet Shaman players are a bit upset they didn't get Devolve instead of Thing from Below. Imagine that. Evolve.
That would be insane. In a Priest meta, Devolve is the absolute nuts. When I first saw Mutate come out, I thought it could also target opposing minions, which would have been so busted.
Yep.
Like, I would gladly upgrade my opponent's Amit to a 5-drop any day of the week.
Or your opponent's Cleric into a Doomsayer.
Doesn't work both ways, I'm afraid. It's only on my minions.
Speaking of which. Now, question, is it worth it?
It just gets value traded into. I think you have to go for something more impressive than an Evolve here.
Okay. Well,
I just don't think it's good enough.
The flip side is, does it need to happen? Because it's just a clock, isn't it? That's the problem. Like, the longer... The problem is, or the other side, just playing devil's advocate, is the longer you wait, well, what if those 2 minions just die anyway? Then when's the next time you can even evolve? If Surrender had Hair in hand, of course I'd change my tune. But in general, if you don't make something now, well, Surrender's just playing a Life Drinker next turn, that gets farmed as well. So
that's a very valid line of thought.
There's a chance that the Blademaster kills anything, so just make the 2 biggest things.
And like, if you don't evolve Pyromancer, just pretty much locks you out of the game at that point. But the 2 lines of thinking there, I think, were for Surrender. You either go for it now, of course, as he did, hope to get something like a Lightning Bolt off of the Ethereal Lackey to try and work together with these minions to take out the nice big juicy Blade Master. A Lava Burst, yeah, exactly. Anything like that, just some damage spells. Or he could have gone for saying, I'm already in such a bad spot in this situation that I have to hope to top deck Hair or Mogu to be really in any kind of a reasonable position. Quickly.
And luckily for Surrender, there actually was a Pyro plus spells in hand, so if he'd left the board, he would have got absolutely stomped.
Yeah. And he gets a decent outcome here, of course, in the
card draw,
Sallet's
look at
Pride.
that.
Yeah. It's close. It's not great and it's not terrible either. You'd probably rather have a slightly more survivable minion to try and hope to clear off the Blade Master, but
I don't know though, right? Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Like, the card draw's really good, but
yeah. Can I have both plays? Can I have a 4/4 that draws me 2 cards?
no. You can have a what is it? Gnomish Inventor. It's a 4-drop that draws you 1 card. It's the best I can do.
I don't want that.
Well,
Rejected.
We don't always get what we want, Derek. Welcome to life. Is the cable rack going to come down for a witchy lackey, which again just doesn't do much? The problem for Surrender here is he's already behind. That I don't even know what he needs. He just needs to, I guess, ethereal lackey and get Hex or something.
Get Hex, get Plague of Murlocs, I suppose.
There is little time.
I mean, there's a fair few good cards you can get off ethereal lackey.
Can he even make it to turn 7, and will it even do enough? It doesn't even kill the Blade Master.
I think it has to be the pick.
It's probably the best pick that he's got. I agree.
Yeah,
I just like want to point out that it's not exactly mind-blowing.
Not the worst outcome there off of Snip Snap, but then of course you quite quickly realise trade, Acolyte, Topsy the Pyro, board's gone, cards drawn, bish bash bosh.
Game's won.
Yeah. And I think DawN will almost certainly come to that line of play in the end. It doesn't even play into Mind Control Tech or anything, it's just the best line.
Let the pain speak to me.
Yep, it might not be fancy in terms of the things Priest can do, but it's definitely good enough. All you need to do against Shaman, clear the board off. He even draws the Cleric to rub some salt in the wound, and I think this series is not meant to go on for much longer, Derek.
It's not looking great. Surrender is not out of it, though. That Earthquake, if he can just bridge the gap...
Which he can now with Mogu.
Which he can do, exactly. There's no health buff effect in DawN's hand, so that Inner Fire is unlikely to be more than 1 or 2 attack for the next few turns, which is fantastic for Surrender. That's exactly what he needs to see to have a chance in this game. And like you said, Mogu on this turn could pull him out of this.
So would you play Slurper and then maybe Lackey depending, and then Mogu into the Acolyte and just let the Pyro stay?
I like the look of that. I like seeing Slurper on this turn because it's overloading into turn 6, which means Earthquake on turn 7.
And it gives you a card you can always play because a 1-drop still reduces Mogu's by 1. Now, obviously, what I didn't notice, to be completely honest, was it procs the
I would have made that mistake, 100%. Probably going to be the Zap here, I think.
There is little time.
Yep.
Yeah. I was looking at Witch's Brew and was like, we're against Priest.
Yeah. Health doesn't matter.
I think the Acolyte is the hit, though.
Yeah. Just got to deny the absurd amounts of draw.
Oh!
Should have gone for Witch's Brew. Damn it.
What a noob! This is actually...
It's pretty disgusting.
It's a pretty sick turn, honestly.
Yeah.
Like. And also, he can heal because he has Hero Power Life Drinker. So it means he can bring back
That's true.
his taunt.
He just needs to get himself damaged first is the problem. So a weaponized Wasp on his own face, I'm imagining.
Just set up for the reset. It's pretty interesting, though, because
tough turn now.
After Earthquake, well, it doesn't go away, right? So it means that it's still there to just be an ever annoying threat.
It's not as bad of an 8-drop as it first looks by any stretch of the imagination.
Oof.
Also, the fact
DawN's
that
going big mode.
Blocks 14 damage here is also quite relevant, I dare say.
Oh, if he just survives a bit longer and it doesn't heal for a bit more and other stuff, he can actually kill it off with Earthquake, is my point.
Yes. If. So Sludge Slurper on this turn definitely looks like the best option. It's overloading you into the Earthquake turn, though, which obviously does not lock it out as a possibility. It's still something you could consider.
What about just Mind Control
more
Tech?
likely just Mind Control Tech becomes the play, yeah.
Just play. Oh, honestly, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to pass. I'm not saying he should, but if he passes, because you've got to imagine every world Mind Control Tech's dead next turn anyway. The difference is it's likely that it'll be able to trade in to push some extra damage. And like I said, if Surrender can kill this Blade Master, it doesn't mean he wins, but it means that the game carries on.
Yeah. I think I like getting it down just to try and give you a higher chance of actually getting the
Trading,
Blade Master down. Yeah, down.
I agree.
Crucial health point.
And obviously with Sludge Slurper, with Life Drinker, with Barista.
Yeah.
Surrender's got stuff to do late game.
He's got powerful stuff to do late game as well. This is a strong hand he's got knocking about here. Mainly because of the Lucent Bark that's still in play.
And also, honestly, DawN, yes, he drew 2 Clerics, which is good, do not get me wrong. But his hand was 3 1-drops and a 1 Samdi, which isn't really what you want most of the time. You want one or the other, right?
Yeah.
Well, never mind. And here we go. So 3, 4, 5, 6. He's one off.
One off a clear?
One off.
Oh!
Feels relatively bad.
That's fine. You
Surrender.
can just take the res on this turn, then, right? You go Hero Power, Life Drinker. You can even fit in a Sludge Slurper as well, and then still go for the.
Just trade off everything else.
Yeah.
You know what?
I wonder.
Wouldn't hate it.
Yeah. I think it's pretty much the only play he's got, unless of course he finds something better on the Sludge Slurper, and then you can reevaluate. That doesn't allow for a clear on this turn. No.
DawN's like, don't you heal? No!
This is such a sick combo, and he can do it again next turn if he needs to. This Lucent Bark was insane.
Evolve's got a lot to answer for, hasn't it?
That is definitely true. So now just one Samdi for a couple of 1-drops? That doesn't sound great, so Amit? And then
Just play stuff.
double guy, yeah.
Maybe he needs one Samdi. Because he needs to be able to kill the Lucent Bark if it reses next turn.
Surrender seems upset, but to be perfectly honest, it's not that bad for him,
It's lethal,
given
isn't it?
how terrible it's been.
Oh no, he needs to get rid of the totem. It would have been lethal.
Really? How? Oh, because he has. Oh, he has board space. Wait, is it exact lethal?
I think it's 19, 3, 5, 8, 10 on board, and then 6 and 4. Oh, it's
There's not 10. There's 9 on board.
sorry, 9 on board. Yeah, I can't count. I'm dumb. Yeah, that is
15.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
exact lethal.
Oh,
And there's no way he can get rid of anything without trading it off and therefore losing.
he doesn't have the
exact
mana
lethal.
as well. Yeah, I was thinking whether he can like maybe hit everything in then evolve and it gets something that you can trade in, but that's a 1 mana and that means you don't get it.
So when we were praising him for fitting in that totem before he quested, that was actually the losing play.
I guess.
Oh no, wait.
Yes and no, because he got Mogu off.
Yeah. He could've
And
got
also
that- he
as
could've got
well,
that anyway.
my main point on that turn was because of the way he
Could've got
played
it
it, he got the quest proc.
Yeah.
So he can kill the Blade Master,
Yeah.
which is fine.
That's
I'm just
the big
saying,
one.
like, he was kind
He
of
was
had
this
lethal
close.
that turn.
He was
Kind
this
of had
close.
lethal.
And the big thing is, of course, 6 more damage to face. Another 3 plugging in with the Life Drinker.
Yeah,
already
there goes
on board.
Lucent Bark again.
And again, the Lucent Bark.
DawN cannot believe it.
This is such a sick game.
It's like, guys, come on.
So now, Amit, 4 1-drops. Is he just dead if he does that? He's dead on board if he does that.
He's not played a single taunt, has he? He's not played Tolvir.
No.
So he can't even
Can't
Psycho
res.
Pump or anything, you know.
Is that just game then?
I guess.
You can go trade
Oh,
Cleric
wait.
heal.
Yeah, he has to heal for a spell to Pyro and kill off the Lucent Bark. He has to.
He has to, yeah. That's the only way
He
he
needs
doesn't
to kill
die.
off this Lucent Bark or he's dead.
Yep.
Okay, he's not technically dead. He'd be 1 off if he healed himself.
Oh, okay. Good point.
Well,
He can still find a spell.
has to be a cheap one though. It can't be Divine Spirit now. Has to be a 1 or 0.
Oh!
Oh, Taunt gets him there.
Okay, so if he goes Taunt and then,
And then sidekick.
sidekicks it, yeah. He's alive, okay.
But then he's like, oh, it's so close.
It's very, very close, man.
Hey, I got you.
But if Surrender just goes for... Say he can't find anything better and just ends up going for the Earthquake here, does that give DawN what he needs to be able to pull back with Amit, Sidekick, Psycho Pump?
Wait, is this just lethal anyway? Yeah, because he can.
Oh, he's got
yeah,
Barista and Bounce.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was gonna say he can bounce the the kobold.
Okay.
I think he could have even done this if he just did it without the hero power and bounced Life Drinker.
Yes, I think you're right.
But still, wow.
That was a crazy game.
Don't ask me how he did it, but he has. And I have lost audio. I cannot hear a thing.
Yeah, we'll get that sorted as soon as possible again.
Yeah, if you guys can hear us at least, should we just keep casting as if everything's fine?
Let's assume that we're still live.
So I don't know if you can hear us, because we can't hear each other, but that's fine. We can just shout louder. But yeah, Surrender actually took that win, which was really surprising. And I just didn't see it coming with that Lucenbach.
Yeah, it was a bit of a big turnaround there because it looked like at the start with that huge Blade Master that the game had just been already won by DawN, and I wonder if through his keep of the Circle of Healing that I think he kept in the start there, he was going for something exactly like that. But I wonder if that is the strategy he should be going for, because in my opinion, up against the old version of Quest Shaman at least, I like finding cards like Amit, obviously the Northshire Cleric as well, just going for a lot of draw early on and very, very high health buffs.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's really difficult to try and actually analyze that game, because literally without Lucenbach, the game was over, it was done, it was dusted, and it wasn't as if just Surrender got a taunt for one turn. It's the fact that he could keep resin it, which kept it alive, and also because it was on 8 health and it wouldn't go down through a Bonsandi, that also changed the makeup of the game. Because if it would have died just straight up to one Bonsandi hit, then the turns from DawN changes, right? Because he doesn't have to go for that, like, the heal play to necessarily draw. He could have gone, if he was safe, he could have gone, or at least safer, he could have gone for, okay, I might be dead next turn, but instead I can like Amit, one drop. And obviously with the Barista, there was tons more burst damage available, but still, just the overall point is that game was weird, and we'll have to see what happens there going forward. But here we have Surrender on 1 and DawN on 1, so there's going to be one more game left to see who goes through and faces Tom in the upper portion of the group. And I honestly just thought Surrender was out there. It's so crazy. And if Surrender wins this series, it'll be mainly off the back of that Shaman game.
It will. Once again, if Surrender does end up winning this, or whoever wins this series, they will be going on to face Tom 60229 in the winners match of the group. The winner of that game will go on to the semi-finals tomorrow. The loser will be going down to face Shaxi in the losers match as well.
Yep.
So here, the Northshire Cleric being found right off the start. Exactly what you're looking for DawN to get things rolling. But then on the other side for Surrender, I think for the most part, secrets can play an important role in this matchup for sure, because they can really make the Priest players mess up their turns. But for the most part, I think you're looking for slightly more aggressive starts that function, that feature Zephrys, of course, and the secret synergy cards more so than the secrets themselves.
Yeah, I'll see how this plays out. We do apologise, though. We do have some sound issues on our end, so if we stop talking for... Yeah, so if we just stop... Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, fixed. Recovered. It looks like the issue was on Derek's side of the table, as we've lost it again. It's gone. But yeah, we will get this back, as it looks like sound is going to be coming back to us. I'm blaming Derek fully on this one.
Yeah, I take full responsibility for something that's not my fault at all.
Okay, it seems to be back now. So we should be able to recover our casting and continue on for you. Apologies about that. But we do see this now. DawN getting off to a fantastic start on the Priest, and even has that Psycho Pump to follow up with right now.
Yeah, a truly disgusting start here for DawN. Really what you're looking to do, of course. And this is, I think, what I was trying to hope to see him move more aggressively towards the last game, is something like this with just more of a minion-heavy start.
Right.
There's definitely matchups where you're looking to keep spells some of the time, like the Priest Mirror, you want Silence and Inner Fire. A lot of the time you want, Powered Shield as well, to be going for those high health buffs. But something like this is really the dream.
And now looking at this, Surrender does have Deadly Shot, not necessarily to go for its play this turn, but he is!
I'm not sure if that's good or bad.
It's at surface level, it's probably good, right?
For whom?
Surrender.
Right.
Because
yes,
if you just look at surface level, Hunter is better at killing a 3 health minion than it is a 6 health minion,
yes,
right?
For sure.
So even though you can say, well, Cleric draws cards, Well, not if there's nothing to heal.
Yeah.
Right? And so right at this second, the outcome on that turn was good for Surrender, because honestly, how the heck does he ever kill a 6 health minion in this game? Not for a long time is my
Not for a
answer.
while. The answer
which
is
means
Zephyrus,
that,
pretty much.
Yeah, and then if there's a Divine Spirit the turn after, and he'd hit the Cleric, Divine Spirit on the Tol'vir,
Yeah.
then he could just be dead, and that's just it. So that deadly shot was 1 brave, 2 just magnificent, I think.
However, with the Psycho Pump coming down, Surrender might quickly realize, oh, wait a second. This isn't quite so peachy as it was looking at the start.
Yeah, I mean, by no means did that win Surrender the game, but I think it was a good spot.
This is a tough decision. Amit coming down on turn 4. You've already seen a deadly shot, of course, which would be pretty bad if you are just throwing down the Amit. Kill command, as it currently stands with no beasts in play, would not deal the necessary damage to take it out.
I see a
Even
dark
Half Shot would not be able to take it out, and I think because of all of those reasons, you just slam it. If they can't kill it off, the benefit next turn is just off the charts.
I think the main reason, Mark Shot's not even in the deck.
That's
It's
another great
It's
reason.
one of the things that's been taking the cuts in Highlander Hunter, you know, for Ragnaros, for Call the Wild, so on. So there's literally like kill command,
Doesn't even
and,
do it.
and that just
Plus
to
a 1
reduce
drop.
its health.
Yeah.
That's literally what it's for.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess technically, like, yeah, Link's plus kill command would get there,
That's the
which
job.
would be insane. But there
not
was so
playing around that.
little punish for DawN, and
Yeah.
he almost just wins the game if this doesn't die. That I like it. Surrender now. Not looking too high, is it?
It's really not. So he needs to start thinking, what is my win condition now? Which generally in Hunter you have to think, can I just start going face and win through sheer aggression?
What if he unleash and links into the cleric?
I move quickly.
I like it. He has his options
okay.
are so bad. He can at least say, "I'm going to reduce your card draw." Right? Like you've got this hammer, but you've only got the cards in your hand, right? On average.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just gave him card draw opportunities and an hammer,
Yeah.
you just lose the game 100% of the time. So I respect this play a lot from Surrender. Whereas DawN, I feel all he has to do now is to just. It sounds really stupid, but to just not mess up, right?
Yep.
Because he's in such a strong position due to that opening. It means like what does Surrender even do? And I think Surrender even knows it. There comes the cleric back. That's what he wanted to see.
Even a fist pump.
So now there's the silence for the snip snap. There's the card draw from the cleric. The cleric's even got reborn, which means that this is an almost impossible feat for Surrender. Don't get me wrong. I said that last game and I was wrong, so I feel bad. But DawN, I think, is feeling hyped right now because he's just like, okay, boom, get me in that upper bracket match.
You know what, Raven, I gotta say, I wish we had visual issues as well as our audio issues right now, because I cannot bear to watch this. This is just slaughter.
This is where, like in the anime, the one character like fights what's going to be the last boss, basically, but for the first time, and you think, oh wow, they got it. They start fighting back. The boss is impressed. He's like, oh, you don't suck, and then they go level up mode. It's just
Right.
one extra level of power, and then they just slap him back down again. And you're like, this was just episode 1. DawN definitely being the end boss here, because what can Surrender even do? There were twinklings, especially after that last game of Surrender taking this series, but doesn't look like it to me.
DawN just pummeling. Damu, 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 damu.
It's just one of those things where, like, you know, like Goku fights someone. It's like when Goku fights Beerus, and Beerus is just like, oh yeah, you know, you're actually not bad. I'm using like 0.1% of my power. I'll make it 0.2, and then just backhands him into the floor, and it's like, oh, never mind.
I mean, I'm imagining JoJo and the Pillar Men, but it's a similar dynamic, I think.
All the secrets coming down from Surrender, but what doesn't appear to be a secret is that DawN looks like he's going to win this game.
Yeah, there's just nothing that Surrender can do here. And this is one of the reasons why I think you have to have a very good reason to bring Highlander Hunter, because when you look at what the other decks can do in the game, we're talking about cheating out like 20 mana's worth of stuff on turn 4 if you're Shaman. That's not even like 1 in every 100 games. That happens relatively often. And you're looking at Druid with Kun the Forgotten King. Its late game is just off the charts powerful. So with Hunter, you have to be thinking, what am I targeting? What is the hole in their armor that I'm managing to put this strategy forward with? And I wonder if it really effectively targets much other than the Paladin at the moment.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think it's got decent game, and obviously Hunter going 0-1 versus Priest. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but I agree that there are definitely decks that feel like they can do generally more powerful things overall. But I think Hunter is overall just in a decent spot to get some work done. But Surrender's crossing his fingers, I think. Doesn't get the pressure plate going down, and that looks like it's going to game as far as I see it. DawN moves on to the winners match in this second group of the playoffs here. Going to be going up against Tom.
Yeah, huge win there for DawN. It's been a bit of a rocky road, it's fair to say, for him in Grandmasters Season 2 so far. As we saw from his record, 8-6, he had a pretty good run of it towards the end. And there was a bit in the middle where it looks like he may have eclipsed Glory and Tom 60229 at the top of Division B. But so far for him, I think it's just been a story of being a solid player, nothing exceptional. But that game there felt like a pretty strong display against Surrender.
Yeah, felt pretty one-sided overall, with Surrender really having to pull something crazy out of the bag to even get a win against DawN. So we'll see how he is going to do, as DawN will be going up against Tom 60229 after this break.